Hey, everybody, welcome to the Brush Up. This week, it's Gen Z versus Gen X at the box office. America's news grandpa goes off, and Hegseth appoints his tech bros to the military, and it's probably easy to guess where they came from. Let's go.
Yeah. What's up, brother? What's going down, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. Doing well. I'm excited this week with a couple new segments we're going to throw in here too.
Yeah. This is a laboratory. The show, we like to change it up, experiment, do all kinds of stuff. It's a good time for us. So we hope you are along for the ride.
Yeah.
I'm in my bunker here in disease central, the sickness from last week from my daughter is just moving through each family member really slowly. So
every time
over a cold,
every time, man, something like that that's why they call you a host. That's why they call you a host, buddy.
For sure. Last weekend, our 3-year-old got sick with something and ruined all our Memorial Day weekend plans. And now, like this past weekend, I was just like, ugh.
It's always right when you think you're in the clear too. Like, oh, cool, we didn't get it. Baby didn't get it. We didn't get it. Awesome, we're out of here. And then bam.
Oh yeah, baby's coughing too. We all got smokers coughs. So I apologize if I end up coughing at some point during the podcast. But anyway, there's a lot to talk about. Show. There's a lot to talk about this week, buddy.
There's some fun stuff to talk about this week, man. Real fun.
Hey, listen, I don't know if it's appropriate for me to show this because I feel like it shows bias, but beep 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 beep.
Oh yeah, buddy.
I got the greatest popcorn bucket of all time. It's not in focus.
Awesome.
If I put it next to my head, is it in focus?
No, it is in focus. It is in focus, buddy. I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna beat He-Man to you son of a bitch. That's a big ass. That's a giant He-Man sword. Full disclosure, I saw the early premiere. And I have a plethora of memorabilia I got from the pre-opening night that's not available anywhere else. I'm going to show you that all next week after you see the movie and we break it down for sure.
Listen to me. It's our last chance, Gen X. It's your I believe this is the last summer of Gen X nostalgia, and it's coming at us hard. Just dive in. Enjoy the experience.
Do it. Dive in, man. You got to dive in because if we don't support it, it's going to die. It's going to die.
It's going to die. And I think that's a perfect segue into our first story of the week, which is it's Gen X versus Gen Z at the box office this weekend. It's kind of pretty remarkable how that's like set itself up. You have these two movies we talked about last week, which are Backrooms and the Obsession. And the Backrooms had like the biggest opening weekend of A24's history. I think it's one of the biggest. It is the director Kenny Pixels, that's his name on YouTube. He is the youngest director to ever win an opening weekend on his debut film ever at
That's
20.
Crazy.
And it made $89 million domestically. It's a huge hit, but an Obsession continues to grow. The 21-year-old director from Backrooms, Kane Parsons, was literally like, no, like if I could eliminate generative AI from the world with one snap of my fingers, I would. He was like, I don't need to use AI to do shit for me. And I kind of agree.
Didn't he create
with that.
The whole thing on an open engine or whatever?
What's Unreal Engine is like a computer graphics engine. It's not AI. He's not typing in prompts and it just doing it for him. He had to actually build those worlds not physically, but in a 3-dimensional space. Like he's using a Unreal Engine is like a 3D. It's CGI. It's totally different.
You're telling me that kid made the Backrooms on Minecraft? That's basically what he was doing, building out worlds like that and stuff. I thought it was an AI thing.
No, he used a program called Unreal Engine, which is like a 3D design tool that professional CGI people use. He was
so he was actually like doing it. Okay.
He was building the walls and building the world. And if you go on YouTube and watch those clips, the first one being at a certain point, I was like, I thought it was real for a second. It's
Okay. Well,
interesting.
let's
Yeah,
next week, let's break it down. Little homework.
sure.
Watch the Minecraft movie, watch the Backrooms movie. I want to see which one's better.
But this is He-Man is,
It's coming out
it's
this
got
weekend, buddy. I'm
it's
telling you,
got
they're estimating like the pre-early estimations are like 25 to 35 million dollars. And I'm telling you right now, Dunbar, it's gonna smoke that. It's
you think
gonna smoke.
so?
This thing's gonna do north of 50. I was at the like early screening, and like there was so many moms and dads in there with like 4 kids with them. You know what I mean? Like just like people are taking their kids to go see this.
That's great. I can't wait for my kids to be of age, but I do think like it's interesting that you have these two young filmmakers. There's a lot of hype around what happened the last 2 weekends. Obsession is actually doing something incredibly rare, which is it started at like 17 million and it just keeps growing every weekend. Like
That's
people are
weird.
going to see that. Very rarely happens.
That's a mega hit when that happens. That's word of
That's a
mouth
mega hit.
getting people to go see movies, which is the greatest kind of advertising you can get, and most films don't get it. You're right.
Yeah, and the He-Man reviews are like initially they came out and they were like kind of negative, but then all of a sudden the Rotten Tomato scores came in and the other reviews started coming in, and it's like this is a fun time. And it's got 75. I think it's certified fresh. It's got 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think people will come around to like being like, let's go see He-Man this weekend. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you should. You should. We'll see what you think next week. I'm reserving. I'm not even going to make any faces right now to give anything away. I'm just going to talk
But do
about it
you
next
think
week.
like this is the thing for me? It's like, is it going to eclipse these other two movies that are doing really, really well? Like, can it beat out those movies? And can we get a
No.
Thundercats movie? That's my goal.
I mean, let's get a Thundercats movie any damn way, whether it beats it out or not, brother. You ain't lying, man. But don't give me no Silverhawks movie. I'm not going to see that dumb shit. I don't.
Oh, I would see Silverhawks too.
Silverhawks was
Give me Mask.
stupid. Silverhawks was so weak, dude. Oh my god, Mask, no way, no way. I would love them to do a good GI Joe movie. Everyone they've tried to do sucked. Give me a good GI Joe movie.
You are not the only person that has said that to me, of being
They
like,
suck.
let's do a good GI Joe movie. I feel like it's so hard for that property to get out of like masked dudes with guns. Like it's what it turns
It's
into.
Hasbro. It's Hasbro. My wife used to work at Hasbro Studios. She was, in-house counsel over there, and they demand like control of the storylines and everything because they're just trying to. They think sell toys, and they ruin it every time. They just they can't get out of their way and tell somebody, "Just go do a good GI Joe movie and bet we sell tickets." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can't.
Right.
They can't.
I mean, I think that like the other part of it too is that like, with this sort of tete-a-tete this weekend, which is incredibly rare, you have two properties that are really new. I mean, Backrooms is IP. Like, make no mistake about it. It's just a totally different type of IP. It comes from this 4chan post of this one photo, this kid who was like 15 and bedridden. Like, the more I learn about his story, the more incredible it is.
It's crazy.
That he got to make this movie. He made the whole mythology on YouTube on Unreal Engine alone in his room, and created this whole mythology for Backrooms and made it. That's a totally different IP made by the internet. This is a movie of a 44-year-old property that was popular when we were kids and hasn't been popular since, greenlit 20 years ago with a 50-year-old director. And to cap it all off, and this is one of the things I'm looking forward to, Brian May, guitarist of Queen, is apparently all over this score, and I cannot wait to hear it in the movie theater. So it's like
100%.
A total generational divide, and we're just going to see how it plays out. I mean, if it's a hit, then everything's a hit, and everybody wins, Yeah,
it's a big difference on how these things are getting people to go see the movie. Like our attachment to this He-Man thing is personal experience. It's personal experience. You lived it. You had these things. They were a giant part of your life for years. The stories, the comics, everything after. Like, this was an experience for us that we love, right? And then like with the Gen Z folks, with this Backrooms and all this, their stuff that's going to drive them to go to see the movies is going to be completely different. It's not about personal experience. It's about a meme you saw when you were a teenager. You know what I mean? It's going to be like these memes that blow up and become super popular are going to turn into movies, and you're going to go see that because you remembered the meme. or you know what I mean? And that's how this is, like you said, this is a property that kids like probably like my son's age grew up watching these little backroom videos all over the internet. So they're going to go see this movie, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember when I came across the videos, I was on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok anymore. And it was in the middle of the night and I couldn't sleep. And I'm like on TikTok and scrolling through. I'm like, and it's POV and the person's breathing really heavy. And there's this thing chasing them or whatever. And I was like, what in the heck is this? This is terrifying.
Yeah.
And it felt real. And I was like, this can't be. It felt like Videodrome. I don't know if people know the old Videodrome movies, but like the David Cronenberg, which is like VHSs that would have people who are like trapped and tortured and all this stuff. It felt like it was voyeuristic like that. And it taps into that. I think if He-Man does well, it has $170 million budget, which is not great. It probably needs to come out at about 80 million to be a success, but it's also Amazon, and Amazon metric is totally different. It'll probably be a hit when it goes on streaming. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. He-Man is worldwide. This is not just
Yeah.
an American box office thing. I'm telling you right now, like if you see, I have like some of the toys and things you'll see online, like the toy collect. Masters of the Universe is enormous in Europe. Throughout the UK, Germany,
really?
it's enormous. They will pay hundreds of dollars per figure to try to get toys from the US over there. Some of Mattel's releases go straight to Germany and the UK and like France and Europe and stuff, and we won't get them here, so people here will clamor to get them. It's enormous over there. The numbers are going to be bigger.
Wow. Yeah. It's also a great way to bring in gay pride because He-Man, there's stuff going on there.
All right, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all.
It's He-Man. It's double masculine. It is the cock docking of names. It's two.
No, it's not two people. You're saying he's schizophrenic and he's got like no, man, he's gay with himself. I can't follow what you're trying to say here. I don't know.
I'm saying the name itself is the anyway.
Okay,
forget it.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's forget it. Let's just forget it.
Okay, brush me up on this story of what's happening in the world. This is a little bit of a serious story, but
Okay, let's move on to the next story. Good luck this weekend, Gen Z. Gen X is in the house. Okay, this next story that we got, let me brush you up on this, Dunbar. So Pete Hegseth, I always mix it up. Hegseth appointed 4 civilians to the rank and swore them in to the rank of lieutenant colonel. That's 1 rank below general. These guys are 1 rank below general now in the U.S. Army.
But why? Do we know?
Oh, I'm going to brush you up on that right now. This is a story no one is talking about, and it's going to blow your mind. Here's the deal. These 4 guys that he swore at as lieutenant colonels in the U.S. Army this last week. Number 1, Shyam Ankar, you're familiar. Palantir.
Okay,
he's the CTO for Palantir. Okay. Now, this is a company that makes their living in AI analytics for surveillance. Okay. Now, they're in
military contracts.
Correct. So they're in the military sector and the commercial sector. So they do this analytics for surveillance specifically for like the CIA, the FBI, but they're also on the commercial side, for like social media platforms and like, I don't know, the Gap's email list. Yeah. So they do this for everyone. Okay. And the second guy that's involved here, Andrew Bosworth, he's the CTO of a little company you might be familiar with called Meta.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Surveillance and intelligence, acquiring your info. The third guy here, Bob McGrew, he's the former CPO for OpenAI. And guess who the 4th guy is? Well, he's the current CPO for OpenAI, Kevin Weil. These are the 4 guys that have been appointed 1 rank below general, which, mind you, we're watching Hegseth blow generals out the door every other week. So when do these guys move up to be in charge of the military?
But that's crazy because none of these guys, one, Palantir is a terrifying company. Their owner is like, talks about talking to Nazis and like they're misunderstood. Like he's a crazy person that we've hoisted in charge of these companies, like because we fetishize the eccentric tech overlord, right? Like he's bonkers. But like, what does this portend? I have serious concerns about AI. I'm not like AI should go away kind of guy. I think it can be a useful tool in certain applications. It's solving math problems that we've never been able to solve. Like, it's doing some interesting things in certain
Sure.
applications.
Sure.
But these companies are scary and they can scrape data like crazy.
Yeah.
And they're tracking everywhere we're going. It used to be like, okay, well, like all this tracking that we have, like nobody's going to be able to go through it. Well, now they can. Now they
Yeah.
can.
This is all about being in a police state. This is 100% about being able to surveillance every citizen to see what they're saying, who they're saying it about. Just opinions are going to, this is what this is about. This is just about surveillance of everyone. And they want to put these guys in charge of the military. Like you're jumping 20 years of military experience. You don't have any of it. I'm interested to see how, like, boots on the ground guys are going to react to this. Like, how can you possibly be on board with this? How can you possibly?
Because they're going to turn the military into an automated drone military. The one thing that's interesting is, like, there are a couple of stories that tie into this that I just listened to a story on the Daily about Trump being given an executive order to rein in AI and to say that the government has to create safeguards for AI models being released out to the public, kind of like the FDA approves food. Like, you have to show us the AI model, let us use it, because people are using these AI models now to like hack people's Instagrams. You
100%.
can teach them how to break into security, like grid electric companies that control the grid, or water safety companies. Like, it's getting really scary. And I think some of the worry about AI are that we have no guardrails, that our government isn't doing anything to place any guardrails on it so they can accelerate it and be ahead of the industry and be ahead of China.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Just
make
to
me
put
feel
in
good
simple terms, doesn't make you feel good. Doesn't make you feel good at all. To put it in real simple terms for you, it's like, you know how, like, when you have to figure out a password, and like in older movies, it would be like, you'd have to put 00001, 00002, like, and it would just take you an amount. It would take you years. The math used to be, it would take you years to try to crack that password, and you can't do it now. Now these computers can sit down and be like, me, password cracked. They got it. They've tried them all, every combination within 10 minutes.
And you don't have to be a genius to get it to do it for you. You could be anybody, anywhere on the globe. And speaking of anywhere on the globe, I think it's important to note that Peter Thiel just moved to Argentina. He moved out of the United States. The same guy who said humanity maybe shouldn't survive in an interview with the New York Times a year ago couldn't answer that question. Now moved to Argentina. They all own these bunkers in New Zealand. It's like, the way they think about the world, they are the worst possible people to be in charge of AI.
They're the worst people in the world.
They're the worst people to be in charge of it. And
the worst of the worst are these four guys. The worst of the worst are these four guys. Wasn't it just like, what is Anthropic? Is that, am I using the right? That's the right company.
Yeah, Anthropic owns
the Pentagon just got rid of. Yeah, that the Pentagon was like, we're not in business with you anymore because you wouldn't let us use your shit to do crazy stuff. And they're like, no, you're not doing that. To spy on civilians specifically is what they wanted to do. And Anthropic was like, no, we're not. That's not what it's for.
No.
So this is kind of a case where, like, what is this to Hegseth? Like, lead cheerleader turned him down and embarrassed him, so now he's gonna try to bang the whole team. Like, what's he Tootsie Put these four guys in? Is that what's going on here, Dunbar? He's like, Anthropic pissed him off, so they were like, well, you know what? We're gonna make these guys charge of the military. Like, what? It's like, so
you don't get invited to my party. You're not invited to my party anymore, Anthropic. I mean, go have fun with the Pope. Have fun with the Pope.
Go hang out with the Pope, Anthropic, and you guys could be over there. Because guess what? I got some new friends, and now they're generals.
Yeah.
Like, what? What are we doing? What are we doing?
I mean, it wouldn't it doesn't make it any less terrifying that that's probably very close to what the logic is of this decision.
100% it is. What are you talking about? These are guys that were probably on his text thread for the Yemen bombings or whatever. You know what I mean? These are guys that were probably on that text thread that he plays, Medal of Honor with in the middle of the night. Probably is.
Did you see him doing grapevines with the military? And he's just swinging his arms and like
no. The best part of that video, my wife showed it to me immediately. Being a football guy, high level football, played and coached and things. She handed the phone right over to me for him doing the karaoke's. Oh my God. If you know what that is, that's the one where you're kind of running sideways and you got to switch your hips and your knees. And he looked like a goofball. A goofball. Like, don't let people record you do things like that, man.
Well, it's like, is he an officer level? Is he just one of these guys who was like, ROTC into being an officer and was just a total goon?
Yeah, it was like reserves, and then he got called over to Afghanistan because they were forcing if you know about all that, I'll brush you guys up on that in 10 seconds. They were making all the reserves do multiple tours because the guys who weren't reserves, and if I got this wrong, you can correct me in the comments, but guys who weren't reserves that were actually like full-time enlisted guys, they can only do so many tours and then they have to have a break. Right. But for reserves, there's no rule like that. So that's why they kept rotating the reserves and sending them time after time after time after time over there. So he spent some time over there and he wound up on a unit that did something pretty cool. So he got, they're like, he's in awarded medals and stuff. Well, I'm pretty sure like the whole unit was with him, whatever the thing was. But no, he's he's not respected within his own ranks. I can't shit on him. I didn't go serve, but he's not respected within his own ranks.
But for me, it's like growing up with the guys I grew up with, like all the guys who I know supported Trump talk about freedom of speech and talk about having, personal freedom to do whatever they want to do, to own whatever guns they want to own, to be able to like build whatever dumb monstrosity of a backyard shed in their backyard to blow shit up they want to do. They all talk about like this sort of 1776 level of freedom to be able to, this cuts against that in such a huge, where is the outcry of the surveillance state coming for us? Now they got this guy at the head of DNI, the national intelligence. He's in charge of 18 agencies who has no qualifications. I mean, go look up that story. And he got there. He's going to be there for 200 days into the midterms. And he got there because he was in charge of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and he used those to go after Trump's enemies. So where are we at in terms of our freedoms and like, don't tread on me, and I don't want the government involved in my life and blah, blah, blah. Well, get ready, pal. They're going to be in your life pretty hard.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't fucking know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that's not a candy company and a fast food chain. Okay, that's not what those are. Those are multi-billion-dollar loan consolidators, mortgages, student loan. I mean, any kind of loan that's out there, they own it. And now this guy's in charge of national intelligence. What are we doing, man?
Well, he's in charge of it because he went after Letitia James and he went after other Trump enemies and investigated their mortgage loans and then accused them of fraud. Both cases got thrown out in court. But he's a hitman. He's a total hack. He's there because they're going to use the intelligence apparatus to go after his enemies and to maybe strong arm people into doing things that are illegal to prevent the midterms from going in the way that they look like they're going, which is really, really bad for Donald Trump because the polls right now are really, really bad.
Terrible.
I don't want to parse this out too much, but I think people are brushed up enough. Like it's scary.
This is exactly how this all went down, Dunbar. 100% is Hegseth was on Call of Duty late night with the 4 guys he appointed and my man from the National Intelligence Committee. And they were just dominating missions. And they were like, man, we're good at this, man. And Hegseth was like, bro, light bulb. Do you guys want to be in charge of the military? And one guy was
like, general, bro?
Can I be national intelligence? I just want to be national intelligence. You got it, man. You got that one. You other guys, you're lieutenant colonels tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the entire time they're just getting killed by 12-year-olds.
Yeah. Because it's a game where you just keep respawning every time you die. So in their mind, you can't lose. Lose.
Respawning every 30 seconds. I could be a general.
Yeah. Right. I wish somebody. Let me end it with this. I wish somebody in that that world, that Call of Duty world, could figure out and use AI, man. Hack it. Figure out what Hegseth's handle is, so that when he's on, everybody can just jump in the comments and be like, "Hey, can we go to the Straight Ahead Muse map? Can we just start lighting him up in the comments, man? You're like, who's this boob, man? You don't know. Like, please figure out who he is and just harass him
Could
online."
any of these four guys identify the Strait of Hormuz on a map?
Hegseth might be able to now. By 6 o'clock tonight, probably not. But right now, he might be able to do it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Crazy,
Okay,
man.
let's change it up because that's a little
Let's do it.
dark.
Let's do it. Let's talk
I
about
got a
some
clip.
dumb shit.
Let's talk about some dumb shit. From
Yeah.
dumb shit to dumb shit. Here we go.
And this is working way better than I thought it would. Oh, oh he's flying. Oh.
So that is
What?
a new TikTok trend called couch surfing, which I don't feel like is that new. I feel like I did some things like that when I was a kid, but the reason why it's in the news right now is because the 16-year-old in Utah, and this isn't the funny part, on his birthday was doing this and ended up in a coma and has all these injuries because he was being dragged by a car in a church parking lot from doing couch surfing. It's crazy,
dude. So
It's like
wait, hold up. So this is a thing where like this is a trend on like TikTok where like people are posting themselves doing this type of thing. It's like
Yes.
everybody's trying to imitate it to get likes or whatever.
It's like that thing with Nuts, that movie, the football movie where they all laid in the street and those kids got killed.
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh, the
every
program.
generation had that. We had lawn darts and throwing stars, and
Yeah, we did have the lawn darts, BB gun fights and shit like that. You'd have too. That was some dumb shit we did. We shoot BB guns at each other, but you might lose an eyeball. You're not gonna crack your skull open.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let me tell you what's wrong with these kids after watching that video for 1 minute. Okay, you can tell when they're pulling that couch down bar that it's just on the couch legs, just scraping along. Like they don't have any common sense. See, we had ingenuity, man, because we had the whole day till the street lights came on. We had the ability to look at that couch and go, no, this is not good enough. Let's put some wheels under it and let's get a helmet and speed this thing up, man.
The helmet part is the helmet part. Like we did this thing with a four-wheeler in our, growing up in this, Timmy and Troy Hunt, who lived next to me. Shout out to Timmy and Troy Hunt. They had four-wheelers and three-wheelers, and we got my mom's basting dish, and which was big enough for us to sit in, and like a turkey dish, and we tied a huge rope to it, but we put on a helmet, and then we got traumatic brain injuries, but at least we were wearing a helmet.
And I know the type of helmet you were wearing too was one of those old like 1980s dress up football helmets, like just a plastic shell helmet.
Yeah, just like a black, like you look like a beetle.
Yeah, it had the classic little kicker bar across the front. And it's probably the only team you could find at the store is probably like the Buccaneers or some shit.
Yeah, it was. We played like motorcycle tag at the middle school across the street too. Like we did some dangerous shit.
We do some dumb shit, but I'm gonna give you another thing for a minute here. Here was the difference though. When you were doing that shit, you weren't doing it, I don't know, like for likes. You weren't doing it so that you could record it to put it out there so that people would click your video. You weren't doing it to become famous. You know what I'm saying? To think you're going to be famous and go viral. And you weren't doing it for those reasons. You were doing it because we challenged each other to see how fucking tough you were. You can't do it. You ain't going to do it. And here's the thing I will say too. If it got to be stupid shit, we would all be like, I'm not doing that. Like a Tide Pod. I guarantee you. This is what we're having the conversation right now, that we used to do stupid shit too. But I promise you, if we were all sitting around and people were like, eat this packet of poison, we wouldn't have done it. We'd have been like, no, that's fucking dumb. Next idea.
No, but how much of this is just like so much is available to us from all over the country that the dumbest kid in your town, eventually will end up on TikTok doing something dumb. I mean, I feel bad for this. He's 16. I did dumb shit when I was 16. I did shit that I probably should, be injured.
I probably would have done this.
Yeah. I mean, look, I grew up in Tennessee. It barely snowed. When we got snow, there was a giant hill next to our family friend's house in the middle of the country, like just outside of town. Chris Long, shout out Chris Long, got the hood of a car that he was working on, I believe, tied ropes to it and polished it up. And we just rode that thing. That was a guillotine. And we were just riding that thing down this giant, probably 25-foot hill. Super steep, probably 30-degree incline. Bam. That was we could have chopped a kid's leg off. We did it.
Yeah.
So some of this is like just boys being idiots.
Boys being stupid. I'll tell you the most dangerous thing that we did in Detroit when I was a kid, talking about being kids, like 12, 13, 14, 15. If you're familiar with Detroit, it's a city, man. So like on the city blocks, they all have alleys running through. In my neighborhood, you had alleys running between the two sides of the street because that's how the garbage trucks used to go through and shit. Anyway, you would hide at the edge of the alley by a crossroad, and you would make a pile of snowballs, man. And you would wait for cars to be coming by because they'd be going slow because it was snowy, and you would light the cars up, pow, 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 right outside of them.
Oh my God.
Well, you know how many times we got chased by people that if we would have got caught, I mean, people would shoot people for cars, man. That was dumb. And we would get chased and we would run. And luckily you could hop fences and you could elude a car. But like thinking back on it now, I'm like, that was probably the stupidest shit we ever did. That could have been serious, man.
We would play chicken with cars my mom, if she listens to this, sorry, Mom, that we would play chicken with cars on the street. Like we would like on our bikes, like be in the street until the last, like we were idiots.
What?
In the South, man, you're bored.
You guys, that's crazy. You saw Kevin Bacon in that tractor scene and that dancing movie, and you guys took it upon yourselves to make it a bike game.
We had my town, probably 12,000, 15,000 people there when I grew up. We were the big town surrounded by small towns in Tennessee in the South.
Okay.
We had a train that ran through the town. It had been there like 150 years. That was the big part of the town. It's like the train tracks ran right through town. If anybody knows, like Lynchburg, where they make Jack Daniels, is like the next town over. We would we'd ride our bikes to the train tracks and put pennies and quarters on the train tracks, waiting for the train to come.
Yeah.
And everyone in town heard the train because it would blast its horn like during the day and in the middle of the night when it drove through. Kids would get killed, like high school kids, probably every other year, someone would get killed or really hurt trying to zigzag across the train thing. To beat
pennies on the track is cool. I'm not trying to train dance. You're trying to do train dancing?
Yeah.
Man,
it was, no. I mean, it's
dangerous. Yes, I guess these couch kids are soft. These couch kids are soft.
Just wear a helmet, man.
Just
wear a helmet.
We're way
maybe we need people
you.
like Evel Knievel out there again, being like, you got to have safety. You got to do that. Cause like, just,
Bro, you bring up an excellent point because watching Evel Knievel wipe out and just about die at least once every 6 months on live television probably kept us from doing one step further than the shit we were doing. That kept us in check a little bit. You're right. You watch him make a jump and then just be cartwheeling through cars in a junkyard. Boom, bang, 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 bang off buses, and they pick him up, and he's just like a sack of busted up chips. And you're like, maybe I should. I'm not going to jump those trash cans tomorrow.
Or Circus of the Stars.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Nah, I'm not taking my mongoose out there and jump the trash cans. No.
Well, speaking of throwback conversations, let's move the conversation along. I feel pretty brushed up. Let's go to this.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
It's the throwback, man, for folks listening that can't see. I got a throwback story for you. Listen, got a lot of feedback from that Mario 2 thing. So I think these are fun topics people want to talk about. How big of an NBA Jam fan were you?
Oh man, all the time. I played with the Phoenix Suns because I like Charles Barkley.
Okay.
And I played with the Bulls because I think it was like 90, 92. So I played with the Bulls a lot. But you didn't get Jordan. You got Pippen, and it would be Jordan. Pippen and Grant, I think.
Or Luke Longley or some shit like that, probably. I think it was. Luke Longley and Pippen.
Armstrong. Yeah.
Oh, it was B.J. Armstrong. You're correct. It was
B.J.
B.J.
Armstrong.
Armstrong and Pippen. So this,
Yeah.
I'm talking original NBA Jam. You can only play it at the arcade. You people don't know what that is, you younger folks. You can only play it at the arcade for quarters, and then eventually it came out on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. But even when it came out on that platform, some other things were gone. Anyway, there is some old folklore around this game that the creator of the game recently came clean on. Okay, so this guy, Mark Turmel, he was the original programmer, and he's the dude from Michigan. Okay, now he admitted that the rubber banding code that was put in there, when you were playing this game back in the day, if you got up by 10 points, you remember how frustrating it was because the computer would always come back and take the lead? That was written into the code. Once you got up more than 10 points, the computer would start making his shots at clips of near 100% shooting until that deficit was closed, and your team would start fumbling passes, just dropping them, missing dunks. You remember when you go up for a monster dunk in a game and it would go boing and it wouldn't go in? That would be when you were up. And they did that because you remember you had to put a new quarter in at the end of every quarter to try to get to the end of the game. And if you were getting blown out, you didn't do it. You didn't put the quarter in. So I want to keep the score close. So that rubber banding was actually in the code. You could turn it off though. But the bigger issue here was he came clean on the Bulls and the Pistons. In the original NBA Jam. Yes. In the original NBA Jam game, he was a big bad boys guy. And by the time this game came out in the arcade, that was the year that the Bulls beat the Pistons and finally got over the hump. He wrote into the code, if the Pistons were playing the Bulls and it was coming down to a close game at the end and coming down to a last second shot, which it would because the rubber banding always came down to last second shot. It would be programmed that the Bulls would never make the shot and the Pistons always would make the shot.
Yes, dude. Yes. Always. Yes.
I love it. That was my favorite.
That just goes to show that Pistons can't win without cheating.
What? Stop.
Big Detroit Pistons fan. Making this game in Chicago during the height of the Michael Jordan era, there was a big rivalry, the Pistons and the Bulls. But the one way that I could get back at the Bulls once they got over the hump was to affect their skills against the Pistons in NBA Jam. And so I put in special code that if the Bulls were taking last second shots against the Pistons, they would miss those shots. And so if you're ever playing the game, make sure you pick the Pistons.
The shot if you're not watching the video and you're just listening to us here, there was a clip there at the end of the Bulls taking a last second shot, and the player taking the shot was on fire. So you never miss when you're on fire. It had the fireball going on it, and it went in the hoop and just rolled around in the hoop and stayed in there. And then the buzzer went and said Pistons win. It's awesome. I love it. I love that he did that. Is great. Now, here's the thing, though.
True Detroit Pistons fashion, they gotta skirt the rules to win.
We all know that the rules were skirted for the Bulls to finally win that year. We all know that's a fact. That is a fact. The Jordan rules in the NBA, we know that. But speaking of Jordan,
we'll just have to talk about it in another show, a spinoff show. We'll call it Brush F Beefs.
We will
air out the beefs.
We'll call it Beef It Up. Let's beef it up one week. Speaking of Jordan, though, you brought up Jordan. He was not on the game. Okay, so this is another bit of folklore around the NBA Jam that this is going to be confirmed here. Brushing you up. Jordan was not on the game. Gary Payton was not on the game. Now, Jordan opted out because he had his own brand, was too big at the time. He was not in the Players Association for these type of things. Gary Payton was just left off the game for the Supersonics, like as an oversight. Like, why wouldn't you have Gary Payton on there?
Yeah,
with Sean Kemp.
Were they mad at him?
I think they had like Detloff Shrimp or something. It was just like we kind of screwed that up, but it was an afterthought. But Gary Payton was not on there either. Now, Jordan was such a big fan of this game that he reached out to Mark Turmel and these guys over at Midway and said, hey, I'd like to have a custom machine made for myself, and I want to put myself on the game, and Gary Payton wants to be on the game. And then they wanted to add some other people to the game with him. And this guy on my hat, Ken Griffey Jr., the old graphic hat there, who's swinging. They wanted to put Griffey on the game. So Midway made 5 of these games, 5 of these arcade games. Jordan got one, Peyton got one, I think Griffey got one, and there was 2 other ones some other people had. And so they really did it and gave them, Jordan was sweet on the game. 3 of those cabinets still exist, and they're all in Gary Payton's garage in California. They're real. Jordan is on the game. Gary Payton's on the game with Ken Griffey Jr. That is a real story, and they did do that. Now, I will tell you this. There's also an Easter egg on the original NBA Jam game, Dunbar, just to wrap this story up. This is also true. I know you heard rumors of this when you were a kid, but this was also true that you could play as secret players in the game. You remember it would ask you for your initials and your birthday? So at the arcade, it could keep track of your record, because if you beat all 32 teams, you got something cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So every time you went to the arcade and put a quarter in, you put your initials and your birthday, and it would pop up and it would show you all the teams you'd beat. They'd be crossed out, and you get a new team every time. That was the thing. Well, there was also hidden characters in the original game. They had politicians on there. You could play as, if you put in the right code of birth date and initials, secret codes they gave, you could be Bill or Hillary Clinton. You could play as Al Gore. And then they added some musicians to the game. This is what you're going to like. You could play as any one of the Beastie Boys. You could play as any one of them. Ad Rock, Mike D. You could, any one of the Beastie Boys you could be. You could also be Will Smith or DJ Jazzy Jeff and play in the game. And there's another one you're going to love. They did a crossover because Midway was also doing Mortal Kombat. You could play as Scorpion or Sub-Zero on the game if you had the right codes. So I crazy.
A little confession. I had like a NBA Jams on my phone. Like they have the phone version of the game or a clone of it. I had to delete it off my phone because I was too addicted to it. I was playing it too much.
Yeah. It's so awesome. It is literally was the greatest game in the arcade. The fighting games at the time took off, and Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and all that stuff became far more popular, and that's fine. No way. I was right at that NBA Jam game with another quarter because I wanted to beat all the teams. You know what I mean?
Wow. That is such a great, I feel vindicated knowing that all those times I played Detroit, because I would love to play Detroit. All those times I played Detroit, it was, the game was against me.
Let's be honest though. In what world is Scottie Pippen and BJ Armstrong beating Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer, or Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars? In what world?
I think Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer maybe, but Joe Dumars, no.
Not
Bill is, what is he doing? Throwing elbows?
Reinventing the game from the center position, drawing the defense out to the 3-point line, shooting mid-range and 3-pointers. That seems to be the game nowadays. Bill Laimbeer was the first guy doing it. I'm just saying, but I digress. That's for beef it up. That's for beef it up.
That's for beef it up.
That's for beef it up. So guys, hey, drop in your comments. Drop in your comments. Who is your team? Segue. You're going to get to it right now. I was just going to say, drop in a comment. Who was your team? Who'd you always play with? I have a t-shirt. I always played with Stockton and Malone if I wasn't being the Pistons. Jazz. Put in the comments. Who was your team?
Yeah, I would play with the Suns if I wasn't playing with the Bulls. When Barkley was on the Suns.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun game.
It was a fun game.
Okay, and hit your segue.
Speaking of beefs, also first, like and subscribe to the show. We're on Apple Podcast, wherever you get podcasts, we're there. Like and subscribe to the show. We need to say that more, Mike. What are we doing?
I don't know. Louis, tell us to say that more, will you? For Christ's sake, man.
We got to do a like and subscribe somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of beefs, this is a big beef that came out in the news recently. And it's kind of astonishing. Like, I don't think things like this happen, but veteran broadcaster with 37 years experience at CBS, who has a ton of Emmys, who's been on 60 Minutes for years, Scott Pelley, and here's a photo. If you want to know what he looks like, that's what he looks like. He, in a recent closed door meeting at 60 Minutes, went off. And here's what he went off about. To give a little context, CBS is owned by Paramount. Paramount was bought by the Ellison family, the son of the Ellisons that own Oracle. They are big Trump backers. They had a bunch of big mergers that came up. First, initially buying Skydance, buying Paramount. That was the first big merger that they had to get past. And in that, Colbert was fired. There was a lot of things that felt a little underhanded and weird in terms of them getting through the FCC merger process with the federal government. And then also they put this woman, Bari Weiss, who is a reporter for the New York Times, who had a YouTube channel called The Free Press, who seems to be her television experiences only being on TV. They put her in charge of all of CBS News.
Absurd.
Absurd. And now last week, she fired a bunch of veterans at 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is the flagship broadcast news show in the country. It makes money, which is unheard of as a news show. It gets 9 million views on average a week. And she fired the executive producer and put this guy who also has zero television experience, Nick Bilton, in charge of 60 Minutes. And Scott Pelley, this is part of the reason why I find this story so fascinating. One is just the implications of like them destroying this institution. Scott Pelley, who's an old guy. I mean, he hosted the CBS News Hour. I mean, he did the primetime news for them. They get into this meeting and Bilton starts talking about his love of 60 Minutes, and Scott Pelley interrupts him. And I want to read the quotes from this meeting because it got spicy. He goes, she, talking about Bari Weiss, is murdering 60 Minutes. She does not love this place. She was brought in to kill it, and she's doing exactly that. Like, my reaction of being in that meeting, I'd be like,
oh, here we go.
Shit. They can just go at it.
You start looking for cardboard boxes immediately.
Oh my God, it's crazy. And the argument keeps going, and and through the argument, one of the other people there is like, "You're being rude, Scott. You're being rude." And he was like, "You know what's rude? Firing these veterans who worked on the show for years with no notice and telling them that they had to leave by the end of the day. That's rude." And then he continues to go on. Hewitt starts quoting, Bilton, Nick Bilton, who's the guy who's being brought in to be in charge of it, who's just a tech journalist. He doesn't even have any credentials, is brought in to talk about it. And he starts talking about Don Hewitt, who created 60 Minutes, who is a legend in news broadcasting. And Scott Pelley goes, "I have another question. Did you at any point work with Don Hewitt? Telling anybody about what Don Hewitt thought and what his inspiration was? I worked with Don Hewitt from 1999 to 2004, and Leslie Stahl probably worked with him for 30 years. Just wondering how you have such deep insight." And the guy's response was, "I was simply just quoting an interview."
And then you're fired. I was simply quoting an interview.
Yeah. And then the next day, they fired Scott Pelley. And Scott Pelley came out with this letter. They wrote this letter and published it. Like, why are you going to fire the guy? And then publish the letter of why you fired him to save face. They're like, oh, he's not cooperating. He's not cooperating with us. And then Scott Pelley came out and was like, "In my years of working at 60 Minutes, I have never been pressured to put a story a certain way, to be favorable to politicians. We have never had politicians decide who they get to be interviewed by until Bari Weiss got in charge. I had stories that almost didn't make air, like up to the last minute, because they wanted to put their thumb on the messaging of the story." He basically went scorched earth and said, these people are trying to force like certain stories that are favorable to the administration on the most prestigious news program in the country. And again, it comes down to like, where are free speech warriors? Where are free speech warriors right now? Where are they?
No, they're nowhere to be found, because they're getting the people who are the free speech warriors who don't want to be tread on are getting the speech that they like to hear. So that's considered free speech.
I guess
to them,
it's
free
like,
speech is Bari Weiss saying you can't say that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the free speech is like, I get to say the R word and get to say the, F word.
Come on.
But when it comes down to,
these people want to say the N word.
Want to say the N word. Yeah, let's say it. That's the truth. That's the truth.
That's what it is.
And I know it because I know a lot of these people. That it is not about actually putting truth to power. If it was, then Trump would have done an interview with a reporter outside of the press junket that isn't, glazing him nonstop on YouTube or on Fox News.
Oh,
he doesn't do any interviews with real reporters. He hasn't done one his entire second term at all.
No, he's not gonna. He's not gonna.
Know.
I wish.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Go. No, you go.
I was just thinking to myself, it'd be hilarious if you get somebody else to read these quotes. You know what I mean? Like, who would be a more powerful person in the room than him to look at Barry Weiss and to say that, or to look at Bilton and to say that, what was some of the quotes there? She's murdering the 60 Minutes. Like, what if Barack Obama was in there saying that to her? You know what I mean? That would be the thing to me. Like, she's murdering
I would go
60 Minutes. She does not love this place. She's been brought here to kill it, and she's doing just that.
I would think it would be like, I would like to hear Jake the Snake Roberts do it. Like,
oh man, that'd be
she's
great.
Murdering 60 Minutes. Like that, like
yeah.
Or like Macho Man.
Yeah, those guys do those Macho Man quotes online. Those guys, they're fucking hilarious, man. They do read old quotes from like Andy Rooney as Macho Man and shit. They're hilarious. Those are hilarious. But here's another, going down the 60 Minutes rabbit hole. There's a guy named Jeff Newton that was a longtime producer of 60 Minutes, and he's for the last 2 years been doing this thing called the Writer's Cabin, where like he's got these set of cabins you can rent out or whatever, but he posts from there every single day, and he's deep diving into the real stories, the real news, like they would at 60 Minutes. And he's been on this 60 Minutes story, exposing it every day about Barry Weiss and like what a piece of shit that she is. And like, if you get a chance to go on, check that out, the Writer's Cabin with Jeff Newton. It's great.
Oh, that's great. I'll definitely check that out. I mean, she's a hack. They're all hacks.
Yeah.
And it rots from the top. I mean, I think we all kind of see it's like, we talked about this on other stories. It's like when the leader of your country is also a hack who is about self-enriching and corruption, then the self-enriching, it creates a permission structure for everybody who's inclined to do that to do it. And I think that's what we're living in. I think it's also like where these go, this tends to go. It goes to the appointments from the earlier story that we're talking about, to the head of the DNI, to even this. You continue to put hacks who are incompetent in positions of power, and they continue to screw up. And with these despot leaders, they just start putting their family in charge. And that's where it's going to go if Trump is continuing to be in power. He's already doing it. He's just going to, Ivanka will stop working on her private Epstein Island that she's building, which came out in the news recently. Go look that up. It's the craziest story. It's the craziest interview.
Well,
it's like, she's buying private islands and I can barely buy gas, but neither here nor there. Anyway, I want to move on, but like, that is just another example of like, you don't have to talk about policy. You don't have to agree with me on healthcare, but like as a country, we should kind of agree that like the government pressure should not be in charge of our news organizations, which our tax money pays for their airwaves.
Yeah, you already have Fox News. You already have Fox News. You can go watch that stuff there. There should be other outlets that are allowed to say things against the government and against the president. You should be able to.
If you're not scared of DNI being put in charge of a guy who has no qualifications as a total hack and hitman for Trump, if you're not scared of Meta and all these AI companies being appointed to positions they're unqualified for in the military for whatever reason, why? If you're not scared of Donald Trump being in charge of all these news agencies, maybe you should be concerned about the fact that one company that is very tied into Donald Trump and is supporting Donald Trump, Oracle, it has ties to now CNN and Warner Brothers, because they own that, Paramount and CBS.
Yeah.
Oracle, which is one of the biggest data brokers in the United States, in the world. And now they control TikTok. They control
all
TikTok.
of it. And this is, guys, this is the brush up. This is not fake news. This is not propaganda. We're just stating facts. These are not political opinions. These are just facts. These people are in charge of all these things, and this is what they're doing with them. You just got one question. It's, did you ever work for here? Because I did. And you, sir, are now down here. That's exactly it. I wish he was in there giving it to him like that, man.
Oh my God, dude. I would have loved to have been in that room. I
Oh,
really
man.
would have done anything
I'd have
to
been
be
like,
in that room.
"Ooh, shit."
Yeah.
Right now, put the meme up of Michael Jackson with the popcorn. Oh, shit. From
Yeah,
Thriller.
right. Okay,
That
do you
would've
think
been
we have
great.
time
been
for
great.
do you think we can get through these last two stories real fast?
Oh, yeah. Let's jump on it, man. Go to the
Let's
next one.
do
Hit
it.
hit
Ready? Let's go. We got a new segment here. Let's go.
Knock it off, robots. Yes, I love it. Knock it off, robots. Okay, knock it off, robots. We're gonna get back to knock it off, robots. Okay, I'm gonna get on my knock it off robot horse here. The Pope and AI again. Quick follow up to that story. Last week we did a Pope and AI. He's telling them to knock it off, robots. Man, if I asked you to throw 1,000 darts at ideas outside the box of something that could challenge AI and possibly take it down, religious freedom would not even have been in my thought process.
No,
And
me
that's what's
neither.
happening in the news right now. Somebody came forward and said, well, wait a minute. This is decree of the Pope, not a Pope's opinion. Like we talked about it last week. He wrote an actual, whatever they call it in the Catholic Church. This is the decree of the Pope that in the Catholic faith, we are now anti-AI. So I'm not doing it at work. You can't ask me to do it. You can't ask me to use it. You can't ask me to put it in there. And if you want to fire me, I'm going right down to HR and I got a nice fat lawsuit on my hands. And this is real. People are doing it. I love it.
I love it too. And it's interesting because it like really kind of gets at this problem politically in terms of alignment, because you have like religious conservatives who are all about legal laws that allow for religious freedom. But then all of these AI companies are in bed with the current Republican Party infrastructure and Trump, like to the extent where like he was going to sign an executive order regulating them and then didn't. And so, it's really fascinating. It's like the laws that they've supported for decades, like may cut against them in terms of this AI world. And I'm all for it. I mean, you know,
man,
it's against my religious freedom.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm Catholic, man. I'm not going to use the AI. And then when they try to fire you, go right to HR and be like, cool, man, give me that payout.
It's interesting because like Meta currently tracks and trains its AI models on mouse clicks on their workers' computers right now. They monitor every click, everything they write, everything they do on their laptops, and they're using it to train their AI models. And
100%.
It's crazy. I think it's like, I think, and we talked about this earlier, it's like without guardrails and without a government that's actually involved in like protecting us in any way, I think that's causes a lot of this festering and fear too. It's like, we don't have anybody looking out for you and me at any level.
The Pope, except my buddy from Chicago. Just tell him I'm not doing it. You can go. Listen, here's the game plan, guys. I put the decree. I want everybody to go talk to your boss and say, I'm not playing friendly with the robots no more. All right. No more robots for me, Bob. I'm letting you know I'm off the robot sauce. I'm not on the robot sauce no more. I'm not doing it. If you want to fire me, you can talk to my lawyer, Mr. Sam Leibowitz. He's down there on Fifth Avenue by the Midway. Check him out. And he's a pretty serious guy. So let's not do it.
Just outside of the loop. There's another AI story I want to talk about real quick, and I'm going to title this story "Not You, Marty." Oh,
not Marty.
Martin Scorsese has decided to partner with an AI company called Black Forest Labs to do like storyboarding, but it's like, is he just getting paid? You tell me, is he being held hostage or is he just getting paid off? Here, take a look at this.
I have in mind a town, not a village, not a city, a kind of gnarled, old, almost medieval town in the Caucasus, let's say. Even the streets are narrower, cobblestoned. The main road through the town is twisting and turning, maybe over...
Does that look twisting and turning to you?
Let's back it up even further than that. I could have swore he said medieval.
Yeah.
Put
up the image, but it is.
It ain't medieval. It looked like something out of a Norman Rockwell painting. He said medieval, and AI gave him Norman Rockwell.
He did this with his hands.
Gnarled.
And then later in the clip, he's like, "Yeah, that's it." If people go back and watch this clip, It is the weirdest thing. It feels like, I mean, I hope I guess he's making money, like endorsing this. I'm sure they're going after all of these older filmmakers to like get them to endorse AI. And like some of these directors are not totally opposed to it, but my question is like, can AI, I'm all for this if AI can get Martin Scorsese to make a new movie that's under 4 hours long. Like that would be
That's
like,
a bit. There it is. There it is. Can he speed up his process? Will that speed up the outcome? You know what I mean? Yeah.
because
No,
look, Killers of the Flower Moon is fine. I enjoyed it in the theaters.
Yeah.
I was looking at my watch at the end.
Yeah.
The
Killers of Insomnia. That movie was. Listen, that story was a very important, great story, and it was. But come on, bro, it was too damn long.
I love him, but I think that like some of the things about that, like you and I know that I did, we did comedy at live theater for a long time. I did a lot of comedy and wrote a lot of live comedies in theaters and stuff.
Yeah.
The friction of what you can and cannot do creates kind of new creative inventions.
Yes.
And when you just have everything at your disposal and it's easy to do, it doesn't create innovation, it creates laziness. And that's kind of my fundamental issue with this and with AI in general. And so, I don't know. I mean,
I'll play the fence on this one. But I will say out front that it wouldn't stop after this storyboarding thing. Like if it were just the storyboard things, I'm like, okay, this probably saves a month of going back and forth with somebody who has to do the drawings, try to capture what you're saying because you can't draw, but you can see it in your head. And then you got to keep reshaping this thing till it gets to the point where you like, if this could like speed that up into a day, I understand that. That makes sense to me. I'm sorry to the artist with the drawing job. I'm just saying that could make sense to me, but it won't stop there. Then you're going to get rid of the writers writing the script. Then you're going to, like we did on episode number 1 of this show, you're going to get rid of the actors and it's going to be a CGI robot guy and stop. No.
I think it's like, there's going to be a backlash. And like the guy from Backrooms, the 21-year-old director from Backrooms, Kane Parsons was literally like, no, like if I could eliminate generative AI from the world with one snap of my fingers, I would. He was like, I don't need to use AI to do shit for me. And I think that look, I'll full disclosure, I'm a terrible dyslexic. I have ADHD. I use a lot of technology to help resist friction points for me as a writer and as a producer. And I use a lot of dictation and I record into my phone a lot to like keep things moving forward. And I've used AI a little bit to like digest notes and meetings and things like that. And there are some use cases for it. But the thing that concerns me is like, I can't even dictate into my phone and then have it transcribe it. Now AI is doing that and it's scanning it. And the other thing that's scary to me is that like Gmail has, before you could even stop it, downloaded all your shit anyway. And it has it all. And it's using it to feed Gemini. So it's out there and I don't know how we claw it back. And I worry that like, there's no real way to like put the wine back in the bottle, but I do think there is a way to like have regulations and do something about this stuff.
Knock it off, robots.
I feel like we're at time here. We probably need to wrap this up, but I will say something. We got just to talk about sports a little bit. Who you got? Who do you think is going to win the finals? Because there's a lot of sports stuff happening that we didn't get to.
Well,
if
you're following
Knicks, Spurs, who you rooting for?
WMOD pod across the internet right now. I'm all over the Knicks on All Right Bet. I took out a bet. They were the dogs when the series started to the tune of like plus 178. I put a chunk down on the Knicks to win it.
Yeah, it's 5-6. How many games?
I think it's going to be 6. The NBA will make sure it's 6 at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to get their money.
They'll get a couple of wins in San Antonio. I think that it's like, the Knicks are a second half team.
Yeah.
And they got some fight in them, man. It'll be interesting. It'll
Fun
be
fact I just learned the other day, friend of ours, Andy St. Clair just sent me this, and we'll go out on this with the NBA Finals. The last 4 teams that won game 1 on the road have lost the NBA Finals. The last team to win the NBA Finals by stealing game 1 on the road, the 2004 Detroit Pistons. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wow.
You steal game 1, you should be in the driver's seat. You're not.
Yeah,
It's
interesting.
interesting.
We're going to see what happens over the weekend, and we'll probably have more. But, lots going on. You guys should go out on the weekend, go see these movies that we're talking about. Go, the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, all that stuff's happening. The NFL season is already over. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. But, there's a lot.
If Aaron Donald comes back.
But you can check all that stuff out on DWMOD. And, like and subscribe to the show, and let us know what you think in the comments. And thank you all. You've been brushed up.
You've been brushed up. We'll see you next time.